Hi, friends. This is Joe Chadburn, the Ambassador Network Director here at World Missionary Press. Today we have Yuri Ilnitski back with us. I believe this is part 4, and these have been wonderful. Welcome, Yuri.
Thank you very much. Hello, viewers. Hello, brother and sister. Everyone who watching us, we want to share our experience. As we promised to you, we're gonna share things, what we experience, our knowledge, what we have to share with you, so you can be equipped to do to have some ideas, but it's not limited. Use also your own situation where you are, but we're gonna share what we do in our lives.
Share a little bit, if you would, about shopping malls and hospitals. You had touched on that a little bit earlier in our private discussion, and I'd like to know a little bit more about that. I'm sure our viewers would too.
Okay, as you already know, we live in Atlanta, Georgia. It's United States. And or maybe you live in also in your country where you are, but I will touch United States. As you know, United States is a Christian country. Everyone knows this, and our presidents also touching this, that this is Christian country. And I have many questions from many people. I say, who you need to preach if all is Christians? And I say Christian country, it doesn't mean that all Christians, all followers of Jesus, they all have a salvation. And many people, even if you ask them, I say, if you die right now, in this split second, are you saved? Well, I need to ask God forgiveness, or I need, no, I ask you if you die right now. So this question was make, are you follower of Jesus Christ? Are you Christian? Are you have a confirmed that you are saved? Or you just put the title over yourself and reject any gospel saying, well, I'm Christian. When you been last time in church? Well, maybe last year or 2 years ago. This is very common answer to me. So I assume this is not. We sometimes put the mask and lie to ourselves. The biggest harm we can done to ourselves, it's lie. We can lie to ourselves, I'm Christian, I'm good, I don't need God. And this is where this topic touch.
That's a massive contradiction, because to be Christian is to be Christ-like. They were called Christians in Antioch. They didn't call themselves that. Matter of fact, did you know one of the first things that Christians were called were atheists, because they didn't believe in Zeus and Apollos and Aphrodite and all of the pagan gods, nor did they worship the Roman emperor. So they were considered atheists first, and that's a really crazy thing. And yes, they were called by others Christians, and there's various schools of thought on that. But to me, it should be that, hey, Jesus is shining through this person's life in such a way that we see that something is different. And we talk about, a Christian nation. It doesn't mean that the United States, that term is used very loosely. It doesn't mean that everything has been godly from its inception. It doesn't mean there's not been terrible things that have misrepresented Jesus. It doesn't mean that all are Christians. What they're really saying there is a large population professes to be Christian, either on a piece of paper or through a survey. And so, but as far as Christ shining through our lives, and that personal relationship, and really taking hold of what he's already purchased, what he's already purchased for us and done for us, and already included us in his finished work. I say he's done his part, but the shining doesn't come forward without us participating And that's what is Christian. This is the participation in the life of Jesus and Jesus' love coming out through our lives. That is Christian. You know, just like a bottle can have perfume in it, but if it's you know, hermetically sealed, you can't smell what's in it. You know, so there's the release of that fragrance, and and when others
or like you just mentioned, bottle of perfume, it just come up to my head.
Mhm.
You can put on a bottle perfume, but there is nothing in it. You can label whatever, but this doesn't apply what is advertised. And this is what
the big thing is Jesus being seen through the lives of his people. And so
this is why we right now we want to this topic. This is where I want to identify to you, all of you viewers, when you live in Christian country or non-Christian country, it's opposite direction. You say, no, everybody non-Christian, how I can preach to those? It's another side. And this is very powerful place where there is exist non-believer.
Everybody needs to be loved. Everybody needs to be encouraged. Everybody needs Jesus. You know,
the one place where I saw that people, even atheists, I call them the biggest believer, because they believe in something that they claim that doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people say, I'm an atheist. I say, oh, you're a bigger believer than me. He said, why? I said, I believe in God, that I know he exists. You believe that there is God doesn't exist, and you want to prove it. Mm-hmm. There must be a big fight. But the biggest, where I find the biggest place, and this is where I want to share to you, everyone who watching us, the biggest place where people denying, and they cannot say, I'm not Christian, I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, because everyone know that the end is coming, and they will, their exam moment, the examination is coming in very soon, and they feeling that place is, yes, is hospital. And a hospital and or falling airplane, there is exist non-believers. Mm-hmm. Those people, everyone want to know what's about God, what's about their situation, what's gonna happen when they die, what's gonna happen on the last second when they breathe. They want to know why they feeling fear, why they feeling anxious, why so much stress. And that place is hospital. It's the best place for me to go on it, because that place, and for you, I encourage you, you try. This is actually my first place where I start sharing the gospel. In my church, when I first become a Christ follower. People took me to hospital, and I start serving those people with empty eyes, with scary eyes. And they was listening those gospel, and I saw that in that second. I understood the people, who they are, those titles, those how much they money have, how much, which title they are, how much power they have. In the hospital, they are all the same.
Let me ask you a question. I'm very interested in this. I want to ask you this question. Now, are you, when you're talking about visiting the hospital, are you talking about being invited by sick people to go to their hospital rooms, people you know? Or are you talking about just going to the hospital and meeting people in waiting rooms or various cafeteria or various places? Or is it a mixture? What are we talking about?
Okay, the situation when you get invited, it's even better. Because somebody is waiting.
Yes.
And when you visit that room, but in the United States, it's individual room for individual person. But
in many places,
if we go back,
sometimes you share. Yeah.
Yeah, and we go back in Russia, ex-Union Soviet, In one room, there is 10 people. So when you speak into one, 10 person listen to you.
Yes.
So it's the best opportunity to share the gospel, even not to coming. And those 10 people who listen to you, they have questions. And once you feel almost finishing, they raise that, hey, little brother or young brother or young person, can you come to me? I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot come out from the room until you visit everybody, because everyone have a question. What's going to happen with their life? And this is the best opportunity. They don't rush anywhere. They not say, oh, I don't have time. I'm busy. I have a job to do. Yeah. They want to listen. They want their answers. They want to, even if they are Christians, they want to settle their situation. If you not, the other situation where we usually, I come in not because invitation. I'm coming because I know this is maybe last second the person have in their life. Mm-hmm. And if I came there, we don't know, because God puts, we need to understand God, how God works. God works through situations. Mm-hmm. If you meet one person one day before, somewhere in the mall, he may not give you even 5 seconds to talk. Mm-hmm. But if somebody, his kid, is in emergency room and he is waiting, mm-hmm. he have all the time for you, and doesn't matter his position, he have all the time for you to talk, and he want to get somebody step up on his back and pray and support him psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Yes, and the Lord will use that situation. I never believe the Lord brings evil on people, but he will work all things together for good and use us strategically in those situations to love people, to minister to people.
No,
I think that's very powerful. So you go sometimes, do you go to the hospital sometimes just uninvited?
Yeah, but most of the time we do this.
Okay.
We go to hospital, we visit the hospital, and once we there, we have a very good tool, which I encourage you, everyone, to get this, because this is the best tool. You can get booklet. It's small. It's like credit card. Mm-hmm. And even if you not met somebody, there is waiting rooms. Those tables is empty. Yeah. And people have a 2-3 hour wait time. Guess what they're gonna do if they see some little books parking on the table?
Mm-hmm. True.
They're gonna read it.
They're gonna read it. True.
And God gonna talk. Even if you're not there, God gonna talk through that little book. Mm-hmm. And if you meet somebody, yes, you can tell. Back in here in the United States, I have a very big opportunity in hospitals when I was working as an interpreter, as translator.
Yes.
And I worked very long time, and sometimes we have surgeries and or doctor checkup, and me and my client was sitting, and it was the best moment for me to share the gospel, because that person, I have him 2 hours, 1 hour or her, and I can share the gospel before we even go to the doctor.
And that's such a ministry for them to be able to understand what the doctor's saying, and vice versa. That's powerful.
And as you say before, every one of us, we have that gift and that work position, what we're doing in our life, and use that work position for sharing the gospel. On my case, I was interpreter, I have that situation. But you may not, the one who was watching, you may not have a situation, you are not interpreter. You will say, Yuri, well, it's good, you are interpreter, yeah, you have 2 hours. But you can be mechanic. You repair car, or you repair computer.
Yes.
And I have one testimony. I also repair computers. I have one person came over to my home, to my workplace. And person came to me and she was nervous. And I said, what bothers you? And she started talking. And we have a big conversation. Took about 1 hour. And when we finished conversation, I shared the gospel. She reconciled. She was a Christian. She reconciled with God because she believed with certain situation. And then I say, okay, let's go back to business. Let's see what's going on with your computer. I push the power and computer turns on.
Mm-hmm.
And she looked to me and big eyes. She said, I was not working. She said, no, something wrong. Turn on again. And turn on again. And I did 3 times or 4, I don't remember. And I turned on every time and computer working. I said, well, computer is working. There is no need on me. But I said, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
You here not because your computer. You here to hear this news. And his father, he wanted to talk to you. He wanted you get back to him. And this why he made the situation. As you say, God never make bad. God never make the evil make bad, but God always, even if we see it through Jesus Christ, devil thinking that he killed Jesus. And he said, okay, now it's over. But God took this bad and flip to our salvation. So this is how we see the picture. God never, but God always knows the situation when it's going to happen. Same thing like we see everyone who have a kid, you see this. When kid takes something and do something, you already predict how it's going to end. And sometimes you already prepare something at the end for their good.
I've had many situations, talk about, hospitals. I've had so many situations where there's so many believers working in a lot of hospitals too. And a nurse or a doctor will catch you praying with someone or talking to them, and they'll be like, amen in the background, and even joining you in prayer, So there's a lot of just people all over the place that just love others and care, And it is a witness to everyone around. And it's not like we're going in to be a spectacle or anything, but people are just overhearing conversations as they're coming in and out, and they're really touched and really blessed. I have some really wonderful personal stories about that I'm not going to get into right now, but it's so awesome what you're talking about. When you do have an invitation to go visit, or when you're there and you can be in the waiting rooms, cafeteria, gift shop, and you say you can leave literature in places, and people a lot of times they don't have things that they're doing, and they
we have one person.
Things spark
we have
their
one
interest.
person. Her name is Raisa. She's making those testimonies. She is living by the 2 hospitals close by. Every time she go to ICU. It's an emergency room, and it's last stage condition people. And she's going there, and so many people. Before, this is what I want to say.
Not just patients, family too need ministry.
Before even securities and others, they say, what you gonna do? You are invited, who you gonna visit? And she just showed the booklet like badge, invitation badge. They say, oh yeah, sure, they need it. So believe. This is what I want to say to every one of you. Believe. There is not a few people who sharing gospel. Many people who sharing gospel. And you don't be afraid. You're not alone. There is many people who doing, like you just mentioned, nurses, doctors. Some doctors, even non-believers, they say, well, there is nothing I can do. Only thing you can do is pray to God. Unconsciously, they understand there is somebody more powerful from their knowledge.
Yes, absolutely.
And they are using God, using them as a vessel to those people to thinking to get saved, to reconcile, or to ask Jesus in salvation to be saved.
Yes. Before we close out this portion of the interview, I believe, if I heard correctly, that you compared even ministering to hospital to ministering in a shopping mall, and you said the hospital was much more effective. Is that correct?
Oh yeah. If you go to, I'm experienced and I like statistics. In statistic, if you go to shopping mall, they don't need God. They don't have a time. But in the hospital, they always rush. I don't say everyone,
Sure,
But
sure.
on the
Because you can minister to
statistic,
people in
I
the
can say
mall, but
90%
they tend to be
on the
rushing,
mall.
wanting to buy something, doing something, busy. Consumerism.
Yeah, on the mall, this is, listen very carefully. On the mall, 80% of people rejecting good news. They don't want to hear. On the hospital, 90%, 95%, they want to listen to this good news.
Wow. So you have
It's big
20%
flip-flop.
versus 90%. Yeah.
So on the malls, people get more busy. But like I just mentioned few minutes ago, God sometimes puts situations that person who reject few minutes ago in the mall, they can be next day in a situation where they needed God. So we don't need to say, oh no, then okay, mall I'm not gonna go. With this God, I'm gonna go. No, mall also we use mall very often, more often than hospitals, because I know on that busy, I know that they not have a time to meet to speak. This is this difference. On a hospital, you have a personal moment to speak one-on-one, and they have questions. They can accept Jesus Christ to their lives. They can reconcile with God if they've been already Jesus followers. On the mall, you don't have that opportunity. But there is where is come the ministry of the World Missionary Press, VMP press.org. You can type in and you will have that little tool. They send booklets, small booklets on 200, how many? 300 something languages?
348 different languages.
348 languages.
Yeah.
And
then
you can have that tool to spread the gospel even in a mall when the people so much busy, so much not have a time to listen you. You can give books. Sometimes we give, believe or not, we give 500 books in less than 30 minutes.
Wow.
It's just fine. And
that's a huge number. Yeah.
No, we have bigger, but that moments people not have a time. But I know that they're gonna put their pocket, and when it's come situation when they needed the mostly God gonna start speaking to them because the God's word is already with them. And this is where I encourage you to go even in the malls to preach the gospel, because this is where you can not preach like speaking, but you can sharing like seeds, like spreading seeds to those people. And when they are ready, the God gonna use that situation. And the last thing I'm gonna tell, that not only me is doing this, or my wife, we're doing mostly whole family.
Yes.
And you know who is the bigger spreader or seeder? Kids.
Yeah.
Kids is the biggest spreader. And they do so quickly. If I need to do it, I may give 50. But everywhere. Yeah. And it's what's joy my heart. And I want to encourage everyone to try this and encourage your kids when his time is right. Because I saw one situation, and this is testimony. We've been in the mall, and my daughter I give it to one person. She was I don't remember, Hindu or Muslim. I don't remember now exactly, but I give it the book, and she said, "No, thank you." Okay. Remember, it's very important. Never argue with people. If they not want it, don't start talking back or something. Thank you. I respect.
Yes.
And few steps farther, maybe 5-6 steps farther, was my daughter there. And she's stretching the same book. And I say, I already gave it to this person. And that person looked to my daughter. She was 7 or 8 years old. She smiled, said, "Yeah, thank you." My heart is get melted. I say, "God, how wise you are. You use if there is not that kid was there,
Mm-hmm.
that person may never hear about Jesus Christ. Now
Yeah.
she have opportunity to hear this.
Yeah.
So if you do witnessing in the hospitals, we're gonna share many more places, and we're gonna share many
Yes.
more testimonies. But if you're gonna do it, don't do it alone.
Yes.
There is one word in our country says, if you want to teach your kids something, they will be not how you're gonna be taught,
Mm-hmm.
not how you're gonna teach. They will be how you are.
Yes.
So if you want your kids be a missionary, a burning fire for God, take them with you, so they see what you're doing. They will be doing the same, and God use them more powerfully, much more powerful. I have many more testimonies, but with lack of time, we're gonna round up, and we're gonna continue in another cycle to share more testimonies and more tools where we can use it. And if you hear this and you see that this is important to you or to your friends, share this. Share this through social media, to Facebook, to YouTube, whatever, and this be helpful to other people too. Okay.
Yes,
By
we're
the
going
way,
to talk. We're going to talk in future interviews here, because I know you've like been to outside of the Super Bowl. You've been to Bonnaroo Music Festival. There's a lot that you're doing, and so I want to talk about that another day. But and we're going to break here. In our next interview, let's talk about the those times of the year that you said were very, very powerful, where you guys are ministering to Valentine's Day and Halloween. Okay. So we'll go ahead and break off the interview in a moment or so, and then we'll pick up with that topic on the next video. Yuri, thank you so much for all that you're sharing. This is wonderful. And I know everyone at home, you're listening to this, and you probably want to share it with your family and just listen again, so that you're really catching the spirit of what Yuri is saying. Because he's not just telling you to do something, he does this. I follow him on Facebook, and we interact, and I see the things that he and his family are doing, and their heart is so into it. We're just so thankful for them. So once again,
by the way, the biggest platform right now what Christians can be used, it's social media.
Social media.
You can reach so much distant. The person who is using this is, I see, we receive many prayer requests. We already start group prayer international prayer group.
Yeah.
We have about 1,600 people there, and people sending from different countries. I never been there, and I may never will be, but they hear God's good news through social media. Don't underestimate. This is very powerful tool to also spread the gospel for other nations.
Absolutely. And thank you once again, Yuri, for being with us. Thank you to all our viewers, listeners. We love you so much. Have a great week.